Hello my fellow furniture friends, welcome to my channel Forever Spring Furniture and welcome to another video. It's been a long time since I posted my last video and I'm happy now to share with you the makeover of these two nightstands. These are two IKEA nightstands and I got them on the second-hand furniture market, which was a funny coincidence because they were listed both at roundabout at the same time and both actually for very cheap, so I was lucky and got them, and I am now looking forward to make them over, and I hope you enjoy the project as well. See you later.
Let's inspect the pieces. So this one here, except of being dirty and having a bit of a grayish tone by now, nothing is wrong at all. The second piece has some issues on the top, so along the edge there are some dents, and one of the front corners there is a tiny piece missing, so let's see what we can do with that one. The prep work is always the same. First of all, I remove the hardware. And then comes the cleaning, and that definitely is the least fun part, but really important to proper clean your piece, to have a nice and clean surface for any paint, primer, whatever that goes on. Here I'm using a product I found at the hardware store, which explicitly says it's great for preparing a piece that will have a new layer of paint or lacquer or whatever on. You can use dish soap or you can use vinegar or whatever. Just make sure you scrub it down properly.
And while you watch me clean, let me tell you how the idea or the design idea for the piece came to my mind.
In autumn time, the ginkgo tree in our neighbor's garden, really it was the most beautiful tree, which was glowing gold, and I decided I want to use the ginkgo theme on one of the pieces. And I had a good idea how I could use these two nightstands and combine it with the ginkgo theme, so let's do it. I wanted to have the ginkgo leaves on the nightstands, and I wanted them in 3D, so not just take a stencil and stencil it on, but create a three-dimensional ornament. And I used paperclay to create the ornament. It is a bit time consuming, but it's super easy. I mean, again, I said it in another video where I used the same technique, the paperclay, to create ornaments. I'm sure there are beautiful and intricate silicone molds, and you can use resin or some other casting medium to create the 3D molds, but that's a rather expensive approach, I would say, and since I do it only as a hobby, the paperclay works really well for me, and it is comparably cheap. So after I rolled out the paperclay and cut the shape, I placed it on the surface where I want the leaves to be and let them dry. Oh yes, and not to forget, I gave it a bit more structure by kind of recreating the veins of the leaves, which will be very important for giving the piece or giving the ornament much more depth in a later step. But enough about the ornaments now and enough about the detail work, so let's get to the dirty work again. I sanded down the top and I sanded down the legs because I want to have a color wood combination in these pieces again, with the wood grain visible on the top and the legs. Do you still remember how the top of one of the nightstands looked like? There were quite a lot of dents along one of the edges, and one of the front corners was broken a bit. But it's an all wood piece and an all wood top, so it was actually possible to just sand it down. To sand down the legs, I simply attach them to the electric drill or electric screwdriver and let it run over first a 120, then a 180 and then a 240 grit sanding paper. Before I can start painting the piece, of course, I will have to glue on my ginkgo leaves. I use wood glue. Somehow I tend to use wood glue for everything, but it gives a very good bond. Apply a nice amount, distribute it evenly, and then just press it onto the surface for a moment. That's it. Almost done with the preparation work. The last step for the prep work would be to add or to apply the primer on. Again, it is a pine piece and the pine knots tend to cause bleed through. That's why I always would recommend to use a blocking primer on pine pieces. For me, the easiest way to apply the primer is the roller, but sometimes there is just no way around using a brush to get into all the detailed areas. Now finally it's time for the color. The painted part will be in two tones. I have a light grayish greenish color and then a very light gray color, and I want to have a wavy borderline where the two colors blend into each other. So here I outlined first the area where the border or then the blended area will be later, and then I just paint the rest of the piece. There were some new high quality brushes under my Christmas tree, and I can tell you it is a revelation. So they lay the paint on much smoother, much more easy, and it's a completely different feeling. This is my second color, a light gray. I applied 2 layers of paint for each color to achieve full coverage. And now for the blending process. When the second layer of paint had dried, I came in and added a bit of actually wet paint in the border area and then tried to work the colors together. Blending doesn't come easy to me, but these colors are so similar that it is hard to fail, and even I was successful. In the first step, I worked the gray color into the green. And then I switched to the green brush and worked the green lightly into the gray. I did not load the brush with more paint, I just used what was still on it. And here comes step number 3. I switched now to my clean, dry, neutral brush and lightly, like really with a very light hand, feathered the colors together, moving the brush vertically and diagonally and horizontally in every direction. When the color had dried and I was satisfied with the blend, it was time to focus on the leaves again. Here I'm adding some silver effect paste. And finally it was time for the final step, which is sealing everything in. And I used, as always, a PU enhanced clear coat and gave the whole piece 2 coats. The tops and the legs got 3 coats. To add the final touch and to give the piece much more depth, I used some black furniture wax. I applied a generous amount of the wax in the area where I have the leaves on, and I tried to massage it properly into the veins of the leaves. It's totally up to you how much wax you leave on or you remove, just according to your liking. I really wanted to have the wax only in the veins of the leaves and to outline the shape, but removed most of the excess wax in the areas in between the leaves. That's it, the design process is done, and now it's time to attach the legs and the door and put a drawer in. I added some new knobs on the doors and the drawers. Put in the shelves and done.
Hello again. It's the end of the video. This piece or these pieces are done. I love them and I think I will have to keep them for my own home. If you like the video and the project, please leave me a thumbs up or leave me a comment and subscribe. There will be more videos coming. I will leave a link down below in the description to my Instagram account. I have more information there, primarily in German. And yeah, that's it for this video. Thanks for watching. See you soon. Bye bye and bis bald.